All right, everyone. So I think it's time to start with our workshop today. And the workshop that we're doing is a Fuse and Camel workshop. And this demo is made specifically for this event only because I'm still been working on a bigger demo, and this is part of the demos that I'm building. I'm taking out some of the parts that I'm using for my demo. I'm taking out for this workshop. And for this workshop, it's going to be divided into two parts. The first part is that we're going to use with the Camel components of JBoss Fuse. We're going to use the JPA component within Camel, and we're going to take connect it to a database. And because I don't want to go through all the hassles and dazzles, building, installing all the database. So the database I choose to use is H2. So it's already, we can always set up some jar files so it can start already. So we're going to use H2 for our database and use the JPA component to read the data out from the H2 database and put it inside JBoss data grid. So for today, we're going to need two different products. First is JBoss Fuse. And the other one is JBoss Data Grid. And the Data Grid version that I'm using is 6.2. So for those of you who has not downloaded yet, please go download it now. It's 6.2. You could always go to JBoss, our customer portal to download it. So get a GA version. Don't get a community version because I'm not sure if it will work for you or not. And for the preparation of this workshop, I think we have to download our code. And I already uploaded the code to the GitHub. So let me find my page. So this is my GitHub page. Let me put it in the text box. So this is the link to my GitHub. So can everyone start to clone it into your workspace? So what you do is create a folder and do a git clone. And what you do is go to this page and copy paste the git URL or just type it in yourself. Doesn't matter how. Just get it. So what it's gonna do is it's gonna pull down all the source code and the documentations that I've created for you. So once you have downloaded it, you should see this. Get rid of this. This folder that we have created. So within the folder, there's a document folder. Within the document folder, you will find all the instructions that's gonna be with this workshop. And with this workshop, I have to say, because I have a thing for Windows. I don't want to do it with anything with Windows. So I don't have any Windows virtual machine or anything at all. So I don't have a Windows script. But that's fine. I'm gonna tell you how to do it if you have a Windows machine. But if someone is gonna be very helpful and provide me with scripts that's written in Windows, please help me and push up to my GitHub. I will be very thankful for that. And for your runtime environment, make sure you have Java 6 and 7 and Maven 2.2 plus. So because we're gonna with Fuse technology and Apache Karaf, it's heavily dependent on Maven. So make sure you have the updated Maven, and you do have to have internet access because we are going to download a lot of stuff from the internet. So this is probably the three things that I want to mention before we start our lab. And please do ask questions in the text box if you have any, okay? I'm probably not gonna see it right away because I only have one screen. I don't have a lot of screen, but I'll try to answer every one of my question. So after you download your package, go through the installation part. The installation it requires you to install the JBoss Developer Studio since we are gonna develop a JBoss Fuse and Camel project. So you probably need it. And if you have not, please go to the product page and download it, and all the instructions on the page. So if there's anything you cannot follow or if you're lost, please just go back to the documents. Everything is on there. So So after our download, there's one more thing that we have to do here is we are gonna create an installs package, because when you see in the well, I forgot to bring put it in my thing. So because you see we're gonna have a install package which is gonna look up all the or where the zip file is, and it's gonna look up for the product file, and it's gonna unzip it and put some supporting documents in it. So if you're using a window, just unzip the files. But if you're running Linux, create an install folder, and after that, make sure everything make sure everything's in it. Just run the init setup. So what it does is it's unpacking the two zip files. So you have a target folder that has JBoss and Fuse in it. So after that, you will see a target folder that has JBoss, data grid server, and Fuse. And with the script, it's gonna do another two things. It's gonna copy some of my configurations into the JBoss data grid and the Fuse settings. So what I did is I put in two different setups. The first for Fuse, it's very simple, just because in Fuse we have to create we want to create users for that. So what I do is I just copy the user file and put it in the replace it into the one in the etc folder. So if you're using Windows, just replace it manually. So what I did is I just overwrite this part. And for the JBoss data grid, it's simple, but it's just a setup thing, because we are going to load for the first exercise, we are going to load data into data grid. That means we have to create a cache to a data grid cache to load the data in. So what that means is that we have to create a cache beforehand. For that, because we are starting a standalone server, so the configuration file I use is standalone. So what I did in this folder is that I created a local cache called conversation cache. It's gonna load everything from the H2 database and put it into the conversation cache. So this is basically what I did. I just created a cache. So when the data grid server starts up, it's gonna have a local cache called conversation cache in it. So for that's the easy part. So after you set up all this, now we're gonna start to develop our workshop. And for our workshop, I have made in the project folder, I have made 4 projects for you, but the first 3 are overlapped because I'm not sure if you can finish on time, or you just want to show you to your customers, you don't want to go through all the workshop. That's fine. The finished version is Fuse Lab 2. Fuse Lab 2 is the finished version. So if you don't want to go through any of this drag and drop thing, just run Lab 2. Lab 2 has everything that's working. And the web page, well, for the web page, it's for the second part of our workshop. The second part of our workshop is that once we have this data that's cached in the data grid, we want to use it. So we are going to create a web project, and the web project is going to communicate to our server with WebSocket. So what normally with WebSocket is that you have to write a lot of code, but now EAP 6.3 supports WebSocket, so it's easy to write the code. But with Fuse, it's even easier. What you have to do is create a component that's called WebSockets, and just assign a port to the WebSocket, then it works. So what I'm doing is that I wrote a web page that's communicating with JavaScript, talking in WebSockets, and where in Fuse we have a WebSocket endpoint that's waiting for the request from the web page, and the web page is our web page project. So we're gonna start a web page that talks to our Fuse Fuse instance, and the Fuse instance is gonna look up all the cache data from the data grid. So this is what we're gonna do for the second part of the lab. And for the first part of the lab, please import the Fuse Lab 0 into your JBoss Developer Studio. For those of you who doesn't know how to do it, well, I assume all of you should know, but for those of you who doesn't know how to do it, the instructions are also on the Lab 1 page. So it's showing you how to import it from existing Maven project and all those sorts of details. So for the first part, and just a tip for you guys, if your JBoss Developer Studio start with the Java EE perspective, you can always use the plus button and find the Fuse. Mine's not in there because it's already here, so it's not here. But you should find it here. But mine's already here, so this is the Fuse perspective. So whenever you want to develop or create any project in Fuse, use Fuse integration view. It's much easier. Okay. So once you import the whole project, you can get started and drag and drop all the things. All the instructions are on there. But the few things I want to point out for the first lab is that I've done some of the background for you, so you don't have to worry about all this coding thing. But I just want to point out, because we are using a JPA component, but the JPA component needs some setup. So all the setups are done here. I've already created the entity manager factory for you and the template as well. But there's one thing, the persistent, because we have to connect our JPA to some persistent. We have to show where the data sources. We have to put in our username, password, and other configuration for the database. So there's some place we have to put it. And the place we're gonna put it is in a persistent.xml file. So the first thing in the lab is that you want to put the persistent.xml in the support folder. You want to put it in the resource into the resource folder. So it's gonna automatically loads the persistence. So if you want to look at the persistence, it's easy. The first part is it's giving a name, so the Camel knows where to look it up and how to link them together. And the second part is actually the database setup. And for me, I use H2 for this one, but because I already tested with the Postgres, so I didn't remove the code. I just leave it here. So if you're using Postgres, here's the sample code for you. So I think I will, for the rest of the part is just drag and drop. I think most of you know. So dragging an endpoint, and we're gonna tell, okay. So with the endpoints, what you're gonna do is you're gonna put in the URL, for example, for JPA. We wanna tell where the model was. And currently we don't have any model for that because I leave out the code for you. So you can actually create it for yourself. And the first is we're gonna put in the model. The model is the thing that we're gonna map the actual database data into the object. The object is called a model. So we are going to create so we're gonna create a class that's called conversation. And their model. So we are creating an object, but this object has to be assigned to a JPA, and so we have to know its index and everything. And don't worry about the coding because I have it in my page, so you can always copy and paste it. But yeah, here's the code. So the whole code is here. But if you wanna If you want to skip all the hassles, I already put in my Java file for you. So just drag and drop in the folder. But here's the code. Just copy and paste it if you want. See? So it's oh, did I put my yeah? I forgot an N for my thing. So that's what you do. So get on with the first lab and make sure it's working. I will give you guys like 15 minutes to complete the first lab. Then I'll talk about the second lab, and I'll make sure that I run a successful one for you guys to see what it looks like. Okay. So why don't you guys get on with it and ask me questions if you need to. Okay. Thanks. I'm sorry about this, but they only give me an hour to do this workshop. I think this workshop is supposed to take an hour and a half at least, but you know, we'll work on it. If you didn't finish it, just drop me an email or a phone call that, whatever. I'll type in my email if you want, so you can find me. And basically for JBoss views, I think there are well mostly I think it's two important part of the component. The first part is the camel itself is how we're gonna drag and drop and use all the components. And the second part is the fabric. It's how you develop and deploy and manage all your containers with each other. And but I think James Dragon already did a um, good presentation on it already, so that's why they canceled my fabric one. But I think for getting to know Fuse, the most important part is get to get familiar with Camel and Fuse and fabric. And once you know fabric, AMQ is just easy. And AMQ, you have to other than the programming that I did yesterday for the AMQTT and AMQP part, the other part I might talk about later on is maybe on my blog or somewhere, is that I'm going to do more on the administration stuff and how to do load balance and cluster stuff. So if you guys can, get updates from my blog. If there's anything you guys want to see or want me to talk about in the future, just drop me an email. I'll see if what I can do. Thanks. Oh, that's a good question. Here's the URL. And I've only started this job for 3 weeks, so I don't have a lot of content in it, but I'm gonna update a lot on this blog from now on, at least like two in a week, maybe. And I would love to hear ideas from you guys. Thanks. So is anyone having trouble, or is pretty easy for you? So this is what let me delete this. Okay, this is what a finished camel route supposed to look like. What we do here is we're having a JPA components endpoint here. The JPA component, you have to put in our the well. Whoa, my JBoss Studio just crashed. Sorry. I have to restart again. Sorry. That happens to me all the time when I load too many stuff on my laptop. All right. Let's go to our demo. It's building stuff, so it takes some time. Ooh, okay. Oops. It's still loading. I think I'll restart again. Well, in the meantime, you guys keep going. Right, this page. Oh, there's no questions. All right, our camel route back. So this is our camel route. The first part is that the JPA. So we have to specify where the JPA the bin was. So this is the bin that we've created, the conversation bin. So this is the bin that we've created. And for the JPA part, the rest of it, it's just simple JPA. It's normal. If you know how to code JPA, then it's simple. And the part that we're using is that we're gonna select all the conversation, all the data from the conversation table. So the query that we're gonna use is get all. So it's mapping to the get all query that we're having. So if you don't want to select the entire table from the table, the original table, just put a where and equals to something else here. So it's just normal GPA stuff. So with all the does someone have questions? Okay, no. Okay, so with the data that we've got from the JPA, we're gonna convert the we're gonna call a we're going to call a processor. Well, this processor doesn't mean anything at all, but I was just showing off, showing that you guys how to call a bin component within the route. So with this processor, within this processor, what we do here is, hi, any problem? Oh, okay, so it's not mine. So what we do here is we're gonna print out all the inputs and the outputs from the data that we've got. So this is the bin part, and the rest of it is we're going to put all the bin information into the header, because for the JBoss data grid, the the component. Can someone turn off their microphone if you don't have a question? Off. Hello? How do I mute them? It's all muted. Oh, strange. So for the Infinispan or the JDG, the JDG component that we have here, it requires you to put everything in the header. So we have to put everything in the so we have to put everything we want to insert into the JBoss data grid cache in the header. So what I've done here is we use the set header components in the transformation. So it's here. So we use the set header the component to put the informations in. So what we have to put in is, it's very simple with JDG cache. What you do is you put in a key and the value. So what we do here is we put in the key. So look at the so look at here. The key is the body. It's the key that we use in the it's the actual key in the object. So here it's the key. This is our ID. So this is the key for our object. So we put this value in the key header, and we're going to put the value, the whole body, the actual object in the body of the to put it in the cache. And we have to specify the operations. We have to see if it's a put or a get, something like that. So after we set all the headers, just put it straight through the to the actual JDG server. And the port that we're gonna use is hot rod. So make sure your hot rod port is working in for your JDG. And the settings I gave you, it's all done, and because it automatically starts up a hot rod port. So does everyone okay? Any questions? That's fine. Jason, it's okay. And okay, so that's it for our lab one. So we still have 2 minutes for you guys to complete this one. So there's two Java objects that you have to create. One is the actual model that we're going to use. The other is for the bean calling, the processor. So if you have a more complex bean that you want to use, you want to manipulate some of the values, this is a good place for you to put it. It's just some of the practices that we use here. And we'll have a persistent.xml in the meta event resource folder. And the actual browse is here. Thanks. Oh, sorry, the Maven, it just takes time to load everything down. I know we've used. I'm using too many. Yeah, you remind me of the thing I want to talk about in the Palm. So everything I use here is in the Palm file. So you don't have to use the JMS, of course, because I was developing the other projects using AMQ as the transformation part. But some of you can take out if you were taking this to a customer and it's it's you don't they don't have a good internet access, or you want a quick build up, take off some of the dependencies that I have here. This is for my big project, so I have like everything, every dependencies in it, like well, JPA don't take it out, but for the in well, for that part, yeah, the AMQ part, just take it out. And because we're not building it into the Maven, into the fabric right now, take this part out if you want. Right. So once you have finished your uh, first lab, the first part of the lab, go to your project, and you're supposed to go to your first lab, but since I think I'll go to that one and run Maven process test. This one has nothing to do with your code. This one is just because we want to put things in the H2 database, right? So I wrote a few SQL. I think you will see the SQLs here. Here, let me show you. A SQL file that's inserting and creating a database for you. So this is my SQL, and this is what I put in in the SQL thing in there. So what I do here is oops, where is it? Yeah. What I do here is I'm gonna run the SQL file, so it's gonna insert the database. What did I do wrong? Typo. I'm so bad at typing. Let me so I had it here. This is where the my thing is. Yeah, here, DB. So it's going to run this process, and it's gonna insert the. So it's gonna execute my my query SQL, and it's gonna load the database in. So you will have a 2-row of table in the H2. So what we do is we now run Maven Camel. So I didn't type anything wrong here. So it's gonna load your camel route. And oh, there's another thing I forgot to tell you. We have to start up the JDG server, of course. How can I forget? So we go to the target project folder. Go to the target. How can I forget? So go to the JDG data grid. Go to the bin and start our JDG server, because we need the JDG server to run enable so it can catch all the so run it again, and I hope this time it will work. Yay, it's working. So see, it's getting the hi and the response hello, and the how are you and so response back from the database. So now you have two cache, two rows in your cache. Well, what do you go? Two entities in your cache, whatever we call it. So this pretty much it completes our first lab. And our second lab, go back. Our second lab is easier. For the second lab, we're gonna create another route. So go back here. What we do here is we're gonna create a new camel route, and whatever you want to call it. But for mine, I call it I don't know. Call it another one. Name RHTE. Yes. Whatever. So, open with, so I create another route, and with this route, we are going to listen from a WebSocket. So with this, we're gonna drag a WebSocket, and we're gonna show where it is. So for this one, I already have one made for you. It's in the lab 2. So for this one, we have a WebSocket, and its name is Echo, and you have to give it a host name and a port. This port is the port. It crashes again. Never install an Android plugin with everything in. It crashes all the time. Anyway, maybe you guys wanna continue with the second part while I'm restarting my Java Studio again. Yes, again. So the second part starts here. Ooh. Second part starts here. It's telling you how to create a new camel route and put in different WebSockets. Here, back in. Okay, so where we are. Where we Oh, we're starting up a WebSocket that's with IP localhost and 92.92. It's where our port is. So with our XML, the XML we've created, the that's gonna talk to the HTML, of course, sorry, HTML that we've created that's trying to connect it to to our WebSocket has to specify it as 92.92. Let me show you how it's done. So go to the demo HTML. The demo HTML is telling it we're going to the localhost 92.92 and it's under echo. So this maps to our WebSocket. So this is where we specify our IP and port. So it will start up in that port, and the HTML we have to tell it where we have to connect. So this is the WebSocket part. And for the second part is that after we get the request, after we because we're letting users to enter the enter an input box in HTML, and we're gonna look up the key from the we got from the HTML. So what we do here is we're gonna ask our JDG again. So for JDG, everything has to be done on the header, of course, that we know from the last part of the lab. So for the header part, we have to specify the key. the key is the body we've got from the WebSocket. So it's obvious because we're saying, see, if we're saying hi, so this will be hi in the body part. And of course, the second part is the operation. The operation we're gonna use here is get instead of put we used last time. Well, after we've set up all the headers, send it to the Infinispan and put a command get, and make sure we tell it to go to the cache, the conversation cache, because it will look up the other cache if you don't put it here. So I'll tell you, I don't know where to look it up. So remember to put a cache name for it. So after we get the cache name, we're gonna determine, if it's empty or it's not. Because if we put a key that's not known to the JDG, it's gonna return a null object back. So a null back. So we have to check. So what we use here is an EIP. It's enterprise integration pattern. I think this is the most common used enterprise integration pattern, which is called content switching. So it's switching, it's routing or to a different route depending on the content that you have. So with the choice, we have a when. So this when is like when the information we've got back from the data grid is not null, means that we found something, and the other one is otherwise. So if it's null, it's gonna go this way. So after everything is found, we're gonna give the results back to the WebSocket that we were initiated in the beginning. So for here, when we have to put our content back, we have to tell them, what the answer, what is the response was. So for this, we are going to rewrite the body of the payload that we're gonna send back, and we're gonna replace the payload with a result we get from the Camel, and this is the response. This response is just the where it's just the another parameter of our conversation. See, conversation response, con response, and this is our con response. So it's getting the object's con response back into the body, and then because we have not done any logging component yet, so I think I just slip in one so you guys can see it now. If it's found, it's printing it out. Then it's going back to the WebSocket that's originally come from. So it's going back to the HTML that we have. And for the other one, the other route, when there's nothing found, we're gonna put a simple static text saying that I don't know what you mean, and return it back to the WebSocket. So what we're gonna do in this lab is, the second part of the lab is drag this whole Camel route in and make sure we have a running part. And I skipped the part of you developing an HTML part. But you guys can always look it up if you want to. This is simple JavaScript with jQuery, just sending out a request, and on the message, what you do, just put it out in the data. But I don't have any good graphical sense at all, so it's plain text. So after we've done it, let me show you how it looked like. We will keep our data grid running, of course. So the one that's finished. We'll go to lab 2 if you didn't follow along, you want to play around with it. The lab 2 has the Camel that's already been done for you. So what we do is we can do a Maven Camel round. And since we have 2 Camel routes in there, it's gonna do 2. So it's gonna load the XML, load the database again, and it's starting up a WebSocket. So here we have started a WebSocket server, and we have also loaded the text again into the data grid. The second part, of course, is we have to start up the web server. of course, because we wanna, make sure that HTML is viewable. And the web server, so we go to our project, and lab 2. There's two. We have a web page. Yep. We have a web page. So in here we have a web page XML. How come it doesn't have a palm in it? Let me see. I think I'm missing a palm here. Yep. I lost it somewhere. Let me copy. I think I left out the palm from the. Let me stop. Did. Wow. So here is I left out the palm, so there's no way for you to start up the Jetty with the Maven. Because in my palm I have the Jetty startup thing here. So what I'm gonna do is go to. Now I push it back. Please get it again. And for the sake of time, I'll just let me push it back. Or just get it back from the Git. It should be on the Git right now. So go back to our project page. Yeah, it's on it. So get it out from the from my Git again, and I think will work. And let's go back to RHT. And page, run Maven. Sorry about that, guys. And run. So it's running a Jetty server. So our web server has started. With this, we can go to localhost. I set this port in 8585 so it doesn't clash with your other thing. So if you see a socket status of 1, that means you have your WebSockets already running and it's already connected to your server. So try hi here, press enter, see hello. So it's getting a hello back. And look at the log in the camel route. It's getting a hello. Message received from Infinite. Then, well, JDG client is saying hello. So with this, if you type in something like hello, because I don't know what you're talking about. So This is how we do the second part of the lab. So I hope you guys are following along, and I hope you don't have a lot of confusions. Sorry about that. And I think the stomp one. As I told you, it was a bigger project, so I was using stomp with AMQ with my project, and I didn't delete it out from this project, so you see it. You can take it out if you want. Yes, I'm going to the bigger project is gonna have stomp. Yesterday I say I did MQTT and MQP, so this is the project I'm gonna put stomp in. So you will have the full stomp MQP and MQTT stuff. Thank you. So I think you guys have another 10 minutes to complete this workshop. I'll wait here until 3 o'clock. If there's anything, just drop a text in. I'll reply as soon as possible. So I think I'll stop my screen sharing because there's nothing more to share, but drop me questions whenever you want.